Hello and welcome, all you food enthusiasts out there. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of tomato ketchup. That's right, the humble bottle of red that has become a staple in households and fast food joints alike. Now you might be thinking, ketchup? Really? But let me assure you, the journey of this condiment is as rich and vibrant as its color. Originating in the Far East as a fish-based sauce, ketchup has traveled across continents, adapted and evolved. From the tangy, vinegar-based British version to the sweet and spicy Indonesian variant, ketchup has taken on many forms, with each one having its unique charm. However, the star of our show today is none other than the American tomato ketchup. Oh yes, the same one that has become the hero of barbecues, the savior of bland burgers, and the secret weapon in mom's spaghetti sauce. So what makes this version so special? Well, it's all about the perfect balance of sweet, savory, and tangy flavors, all packed into a thick, velvety sauce, and the best part? It's made from simple, everyday ingredients, starting with ripe, juicy tomatoes. But we're not just going to talk about it, we're going to make it. That's right, we're rolling up our sleeves and turning our kitchen into a ketchup factory. We'll be walking you through the entire process, from selecting the right tomatoes to the final taste test. Imagine having your very own homemade ketchup free from artificial preservatives and full of natural goodness. Plus, you'll have the bragging rights of being a ketchup connoisseur. So buckle up as we embark on this saucy journey to create our own kitchen masterpiece. To start our ketchup making journey, we first need to gather our ingredients. At the core of our ketchup recipe, we have the ripest, juiciest tomatoes you can find. They're the star of the show, bringing that distinct tangy sweetness we all know and love. Next, we need vinegar. This gives our ketchup its characteristic tang and acts as a natural preservative. The type of vinegar you choose can add an extra dimension to your ketchup, so feel free to experiment. Then comes sugar. This balances out the acidity from the tomatoes and vinegar, creating a harmonious blend of flavors. We also need onions and garlic for that depth of flavor, that savory backbone that makes our ketchup something special. And last but certainly not least, we have our spices. We're talking about a mix of mustard, allspice, and cloves here, bringing warmth and a hint of mystery to our homemade ketchup. With our ingredients ready, we're all set to start the cooking process. Now that we have our ingredients, it's time to start the magic in the kitchen. Let's kick things off with our main star, the tomatoes. Fresh, ripe, and bursting with flavor, these beauties are the heart and soul of our ketchup. We're not just slicing these tomatoes, oh no, we're chopping them into small, manageable pieces. Each chop is a step closer to that tangy, sweet goodness we all know and love. But what's a star without its supporting cast? Enter onions and bell peppers. Much like a comedy duo, these two add depth and complexity to the flavor profile. They're chopped just like our tomatoes, small enough to blend in but large enough to make their presence known. With our actors prepped and ready, it's time to set the stage. We introduce them to a pot, a hot, cozy vessel where the magic truly begins. But they're not going in alone. They're joined by a drizzle of oil, a sprinkle of salt, and a dash of sugar. These may seem like simple seasonings, but they're the unsung heroes of our ketchup story. They coax out the natural sweetness of the tomatoes and balance the overall flavors. Now we're ready to turn up the heat, literally. As the pot warms, the ingredients start to sweat, releasing their juices and creating a symphony of flavors. This is where patience becomes a virtue. We don't rush the process, we let it simmer, allowing every ingredient to contribute its unique note to the melody. A word of caution though, while we let our concoction do its thing, we need to keep an eye on it. A good stir every now and then ensures everything cooks evenly and the flavors meld together beautifully. It's like a dance, a culinary ballet where every movement is crucial to the final performance. And as the tomatoes soften and the onions and peppers become tender, we're well on our way to creating our homemade ketchup. But we're not there yet. Keep stirring to ensure that all our flavors meld together beautifully. As our tomato mixture cooks down, we start to see the beginnings of our homemade ketchup forming. This is where the real magic happens, as we take this simmering pot of potential and transform it into the king of condiments. The next stage of this culinary journey involves adding the spices. This is where ketchup gets its signature tang and kick. We're talking about a symphony of flavors here. A dash of salt, a sprinkle of sugar, and a pinch of various spices. These could include aromatic allspice, warming cinnamon, and a hint of clove for that subtle depth. Of course, let's not forget the star of the show, the ever-important vinegar, which gives ketchup its distinctive sharpness. Once these elements are in the pot, it's all about stirring and simmering. We're not just cooking here, we're crafting. We're coaxing out those flavors, allowing the spices to release their natural oils and become one with the tomato mixture. This isn't a quick process. It's a labor of love. As the mixture continues to bubble away, it will start to thicken. This is a good thing. We're not aiming for a thin, watery sauce, but a rich, robust ketchup that clings to your fries just right. You'll want to keep an eye on the pot at this stage, stirring occasionally to prevent the bottom from scorching. This is the part where we let time do its thing. The mixture needs to simmer and reduce, the flavors melding and intensifying until we're left with a sauce that's thick, glossy, and brimming with flavor. It's a slow process, but it's worth every minute. So you might be asking, how long does this take? Well, as with any good recipe, it varies. But one thing's for sure, patience is key here. This slow cooking process is what gives our ketchup its rich flavor. It's about taking the time to let the ingredients do their dance, creating a ketchup that's truly a cut above the rest. We're now in the home stretch of our ketchup-making journey. It's been quite an adventure, hasn't it? We've washed, chopped, and cooked our way through a mountain of tomatoes, added just the right amount of vinegar and sugar, and let the whole thing simmer down to a thick, flavorful sauce. But we're not quite done yet. The final steps await us, and they're crucial for achieving the perfect ketchup consistency we all know and love. So, what are these final steps, you ask? Well, let's dive in. Our next move is to blend our mixture. This is where the magic happens. We'll take our simmering pot of tomato goodness and carefully, in batches if necessary, blend it until it's smooth. Be patient with this bit, it's worth taking your time. The blending process breaks down any remaining chunks of tomato, giving our ketchup that rich, velvety texture. But wait, there's more. Even after blending, there might still be tiny seeds or bits of skin floating around. And while some might argue that they add character, we're aiming for a silky smooth ketchup here. So our next step is straining the mixture. Using a fine mesh strainer, we'll pour our blended ketchup through, catching any stragglers. This might take a bit of elbow grease, but trust me, it's worth it. After straining, we have one last step, a final simmer. This is where we let our ketchup reduce and thicken just a little more. It's also our last chance to adjust the seasoning. Remember, good cooking is all about tasting and adjusting as you go along. And just like that, we've arrived at the end of our journey. With the final blend and strain, we've crafted our homemade tomato ketchup. It's been a wild ride, but the satisfaction of creating something so delicious from scratch is well worth it. Plus, you'll never look at a bottle of store-bought ketchup the same way again. And there you have it, folks, your own homemade tomato ketchup. A simple yet satisfying journey from the humble tomato to the iconic red condiment that graces tables and dishes worldwide. We've peeled, we've simmered, we've blended, and we've strained. We've added a dash of this and a sprinkle of that, all to create a sauce that is uniquely our own. There's something incredibly gratifying about making from scratch what we often take for granted. It transforms a common condiment into a culinary achievement. It's not just about the taste, but also about the process and the satisfaction it brings. Remember, it's not just ketchup, it's your ketchup. Homemade, fresh, and bursting with flavor. So the next time you reach for that bottle, think about the journey it's been on to get to your plate. Thank you for joining us on this culinary journey. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more delicious adventures. Stay saucy, my friends. Be my